Dozens of police chiefs across Missouri are hell-bent on killing the Second Amendment Preservation Act. If we don't have help, guys, they may be successful in shutting down this massive gun bill. Aaron Dorr here, guys, Missouri Firearms Coalition. If you're pressed for time, whatever else you do, hit the link below and send your pre-written email to your senator telling him or her to vote yes on SAPA, but to vote no on the amendments that we know are coming that are designed to kill this bill. So here's kind of where things are as of April 15, Tuesday, April 15 at around noon. A brief reminder, we passed SAPA, House Bill 1175, out of the House 2 weeks ago, roughly a 100 to 50 vote, I believe. SAPA, for those who don't know, is the law that says that Missouri cops may only enforce Missouri law when it comes to firearms, ammunition, and accessories. SAPA is how we keep Missouri free from the next commie Democrat we have in the White House who wants to use our cops to enforce federal gun control laws. So the bill's passed out of the House. Great vote. Great version of the bill, no amendments. It's a strong version of SAPA. And it was heard yesterday, Monday, April 14, in the Senate Transportation Committee. And the bill was heard there, and we should have it voted on and voted out of committee next Monday. From there, it will be floor eligible. Here's the issue, though. Yesterday in committee, we had police chief after police chief after police chief showing up trying to kill this bill. The Rolla police chief was there. The Branson police chief was there. The Versailles police chief was there. The Columbia assistant police chief was there. And they all testified against your gun rights. They testified against the Second Amendment Preservation Act. There were many more cops there who were there as a show of force, who simply chose to not testify. Here's the problem I have with this. I have two problems, and we all should have problems with this. Number one, when we ask you guys to come to Jeff City and testify in committee or show up for a key vote, when you guys come to the Capitol, you do it on your own dime, driving your own car, wearing your own clothes, taking a day off of work in many cases. You do it on your own nickel. When these guys show up in Jeff City, they're driving taxpayer-funded vehicles, burning taxpayer-funded gas, wearing their taxpayer-funded uniform, and they're using the authority of their office that we all inherently respect, or we used to respect that office, trying to argue against our gun rights. It's disgusting stuff. We all have to do this on our own dime. But these guys can show up, taxpayer-funded everything to lobby against your gun rights. It's frankly disgusting stuff. And I wish that was the only issue. But guys, there's a far more nefarious thing going on you guys need to be aware of. If you've never done this, you should Google Federal Equitable Sharing Program. Federal Equitable Sharing Program. If I can, I'll have our team put a link in the video comment thread here, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, whatever. I'll put the link there for this report. You see, there's a dirty, rotten secret that law enforcement is choosing not to acknowledge when they testify against the Second Amendment Preservation Act. And that dirty, rotten secret is that Missouri, a long time ago, ended civil asset forfeiture for the most part. So if a cop stops you and you have $10,000 in cash in your vehicle because you're going to buy a new car, they can't just seize your cash just because. You know, many states have not done that. Missouri wisely has done that. But there's a workaround, and here's how it works. Let's just take Branson PD, because they were there yesterday testifying against your gun rights. If the Branson Police Department loans out 5 of their officers to an ATF joint federal task force, any money or any property that is sold to become money taken during that task force is divided 80-20 according to the Federal Equitable Sharing Program. 80% of that money goes back to local partners. Local partners. So if the Rolla PD or Versailles PD or Branson PD, when these guys loan their officers out to a joint ATF task force for purpose of enforcing federal gun control laws, they get massive financial benefits for doing so. And yesterday we heard over and over and over about how SAPA means we cannot be party to these task forces. And that's true. SAPA says we do not want Missouri cops to be on federal task forces for the purpose of enforcing federal gun control. And to hear these guys say it, we're going to have all this crime in the streets. We can't put bad guys in prison. It was just like hysterical nonsense. What you never heard was any of them acknowledge the fact that Missouri law enforcement gets millions and millions and millions of dollars from the DOJ, from the ATF, for letting our cops be used as surrogates for the ATF. I'll give you an example. I have my split screen here pulled up right now. This report is from the Institute for Justice, and it goes from the year 2000 to the year 2019. So the report ends roughly 5 years ago. The last year of reportable data from the DOJ showed that Missouri cops, Missouri law enforcement officers, these department heads received $6.1 million from the DOJ just in that 1 year as part of the federal equitable sharing program. Do you want to guess? Over the 20 years of this report from the year 2000 to the year 2019, how much money Missouri police departments took in from the federal equitable sharing program? You want to guess? I'll let you think for a moment. I'll give you the answer. Here's the answer. Over that 20-year time span, the federal government basically bribed Missouri law enforcement department heads with $171,175,976. That is how much money is on the line here to these department heads if they lose SAPA. $171 million over the course of 20 years. So approximately $8 million a year, let's just say, on average. But you're never going to hear these guys talk about it. You're never hear them. They're never going to acknowledge the real reason why they're in Jeff City here testifying against the Second Amendment Preservation Act. It's not about safety. It's not about law and order, because again, SAPA says and SAPA encourages Missouri cops to enforce Missouri law. We want bad guys in prison. We want bad guys behind bars. We want bad guys to be executed based on what their crimes are. Nobody is trying to make it harder for them to do their job. SAPA doesn't do that. What it does, it just says, again, we don't want our cops to enforce federal gun control. That's it. And they never talk about the fact they have 171 million reasons for opposing the Second Amendment Preservation Act. So, guys, that's a real problem we have right now here in Jeff City, because when these guys walk around the Capitol and they're talking to Republican senators, obviously Republican senators, like most of us, respect law enforcement. We respect the idea of law and order. We don't like bad guys. We want bad guys in prison. We want law enforcement to put those guys in prison. But when law enforcement comes to Jeff City against our freedoms, when they come there against the Second Amendment Preservation Act, that's an entirely different situation. And yesterday, when they testified against your gun rights, they were literally arm in arm, side by side with Moms Demand Action, Michael Bloomberg's front group. So these people have gone from being our ideological allies to, in this situation, our political opponents. I want to be clear on this, as has always been the case. Frontline cops love SAPA. Frontline cops do not want to go kicking down doors to enforce federal gun control laws. Frontline cops love the fact that SAPA lets them tell their police chief, oh, sorry, I can't enforce that order. That's a violation of SAPA law. The issue is not law enforcement. The issue is these police chief department heads who are there hooking for more of this federal money. And by hooking, I mean trying to get their hooks into more federal money. So the problem we're going to have here is not so much whether or not SAPA passes. The real issue, as we've warned you guys about for the last month now, is the amendments that law enforcement lobbyists are trying to put on the Second Amendment Preservation Act. This is why your voice is so critical. Your senator needs to hear from you right away to say you must vote no on all these amendments and you must vote yes on the underlying bill. One of the amendments that's already being floated right now here in Jeff City is a removal of all penalties. Because SAPA says if a department violates SAPA law, like say St. Louis PD or Kansas City PD, you can sue the agency in civil court for damages, not the individual cops, but the departments. If they remove the penalties, we have no SAPA law left. That's one amendment. A different one says that there's an exception to have local law enforcement be party to these joint ATF federal task forces for the purpose of enforcing federal gun control. That violates the entire idea of the Second Amendment Preservation Act. I don't know about you guys. I don't want Missouri cops helping the federal government enforcing any federal gun control laws in our state. More and more, the issue of our day will be keeping our state free from the entanglements of the federal government, especially when Trump leaves office and the next commie Democrat gets in there, whether it's 4 years from now, 8 years, 12 years, whatever. We need to keep our state separate and sovereign. A third amendment that's being pushed right now in Jeff City changes the status on where you can file these lawsuits. Because let's just be honest, the majority of the people in Missouri who need the protection that SAPA provides are folks who live in Kansas City, St. Louis, Columbia, Springfield, our bigger blue cities. For the most part, in rural Missouri, this should not be that much of a problem. But if you are a gun owner and you're in St. Louis and St. Louis PD kicks in your front door to grab your AR-15s because some future Democrat president signs an order outlawing them, if you sue over a violation in St. Louis, you're screwed. And we all know that because St. Louis is not going to have a friendly pro-gun judge on the bench. They just simply won't. Neither will Kansas City, neither will Columbia, St. Louis, you know the drill. So what SAPA law says is you may sue in your home county or you can sue in Cole County, Jeff City. That way you've got options. This amendment would remove all of that, which means that, frankly, you can file your lawsuit, but you'd be screwed because you're going to have a liberal judge in St. Louis. Another amendment we're seeing right now is that SAPA is good to go, but you are not covered by SAPA, this amendment says, if you are detained for a criminal offense where you possess a weapon. Well, that sounds reasonable, right? I mean, we want criminals to be put in prison, but think about that carefully. What is it when you're stopped for speeding going down I-70? Well, that's a criminal offense. Speeding, we all do it. It's a criminal violation. And if you happen to have a gun in your vehicle, like most of us watching this video probably do, you are in possession of a weapon. And so this amendment is so broad that anybody in Missouri who concealed carries and jaywalks, spits on the sidewalk, or speeds down I-70 is not covered by the Second Amendment Preservation Act. You see, all of these amendments are designed to kill the Second Amendment Preservation Act. If any of these are adopted, the bill is basically and functionally dead. And again, these amendments are not coming from the radical left. They're coming from law enforcement police chiefs who are trying to kill the Second Amendment Preservation Act. Guys, we need your help. The Senate must hear from you. Hit that link and send your pre-written email to your senator telling him or her you must vote yes on the bill, but you must oppose all the amendments that are offered to weaken the Second Amendment Preservation Act. As far as when this will happen, we had committee yesterday. Again, that was April 14. The bill should be advanced out of committee next Monday, and that would be April 21. From there, we've got about 3 weeks left in session. It's going to happen somewhere in that window. So as you guys are firing off your emails, understand law enforcement lobbyists are working Jeff City aggressively, trying to counter your pressure. So don't do one email and call it good. Do an email today. Do an email 3 or 4 days from now. Do one next week. Make sure your senator knows this is the gun bill you're going to remember for the 2025 session, guys. Send your emails, call your senators. If you see them at a forum on the weekend, talk to them in person, make your voice heard. We'll keep you guys informed. We are this close to finishing this fight. This close. We pass it out of the House clean. If we pass out of the Senate chamber clean, it goes to the governor's desk, and we're in a very good position. If the amendments are adopted, we're in a very bad position. Help us shut that down. Fire off your email today, and we'll keep you guys informed. Take care.